Hey, this is a podcast in which the talking is happening.
Are you ready for the more talking?
Dude, let me tell you what. This podcast starts out with me having some issues.
You were more amped up than I thought you normally are when you come in about these things, but you were just excited and scared at the same time. Nervous energy.
I still, my brain is still just like, what is going on? What is happening? The stuff that Nikki and I, when you lay it all out, COVID-19, urine cures.
For what you're going to hear in the podcast?
Yeah.
There's a lot of pee talk. There's a lot.
UFOs, shadow armies, vaccination lotteries. What is
there's other
going
stuff
on?
I mean, we talk about the Amazon, MGM, AT&T, Warner, Discovery thing. That's still entertainment. That's not bad.
I didn't even put that in here.
You didn't put it in there? Well, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I mean, I don't know. You seem to think it was a valid discussion.
Okay, let me guess to see if you put in from the other stuff. Did you do the $10 million inheritance talk about Bill Gates' children?
Definitely.
Okay, that's in there then.
Okay, here, I got it. I just copied over the MGM thing.
So that's now in the podcast. You're welcome.
Yeah. So Nikki speaks as if it were, and it is.
And it's done.
Amazon.
So there's other stuff. So if you're weirded out a bit by the first few things, it'll be fine. Just please listen to the whole podcast and judge it for the entire show.
No, I know, but guys, that's the weird stuff at the beginning of the podcast. The whole point is that I didn't pitch you weird stuff from some weird place. It was all from front page news sources that are fairly reliable. Maybe.
I know.
That's why it's so weird.
It's made its way into normal news.
Oh, well, I hope that you guys enjoy the podcast. Remember, you can always email us, riot@radiou.com, or text us 877-2-RADIO-U and say, hey.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
What's worse than the worst of the riot? The worst of the riot podcast. Yeah. You did this to yourself. Podcast. Riot. Radio U.
The following comes from Newsweek, okay? It would be one thing if it came from the Daily News, the Daily Mail,
anything with a daily in it.
Whatever. I mean, we're talking about Newsweek, which, I don't know, love them or hate them, they're pretty reputable, right?
Maybe not anymore.
I don't know. These days, I don't know. But they put out a report yesterday that the Pentagon has a shadow army, basically on American soil, of about 60,000 people that is it's not just in the U.S., it's around the world. It operates on a budget of about $900 billion. It is 10 times the size of the CIA's kind of off-book operations.
Sure.
What?
Well, what if it's true? What if they're right? That's a lot to be saying.
Well, that's the thing that's amazing is they're like, hey, they say they've been working on this report for years.
Really?
And they've dug up the numbers they've got have come from a combination of people that have come forward, Freedom of Information Act requests, and a few other things. And the thing that interests me is if this is true, it's crazy. And I feel like no one's talking about it. I was and it was to the point where when I read it yesterday, I started going around on the internet whoa, wait a minute.
Do other people talk about this?
Newsweek, I feel like I'm in some Reddit, tiny stupid Reddit forum where people are yeah, and also the government and the fluoride and the whatever. This is freaking Newsweek is saying that there is a shadow army. You know what this is, Nikki?
What?
It's The Division.
Oh, wait, is it?
The video
show?
game,
Or the
Tom
game?
Clancy's The Division.
That's it?
It's about a secret army that
Where do you think they got the idea from?
That's the part that really bothers.
What you don't realize with a lot of secret things is they release information about it probably, and we just don't realize we're playing the whole game.
So The Division's out there, guys. Mm-hmm. It's real, apparently. They say a lot of it has to do with cyber warfare, but there are other kinds of things taking place. And they have, this is crazy. They can manipulate biometric databases so agents can pass fingerprint checks under false identities.
Just don't read it. It's going to drive you bonkers.
It's not so much that I'm not like, what can we believe? Maybe I kind of am, but I just read it and I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. I feel like if you would have reported this 10 years ago, we would have been like, come on, Newsweek's off their rocker. These people are crazy. What is going on? And now we're just like, oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
That's why it's really hard with all the weird stuff that people report as news and do this and do that. And then sometimes you're like, well, you find out like maybe it could be real or it was real. You're like, no story is too crazy sounding to possibly be true.
Okay. Hang on to that thought.
Okay. Is there one more?
In a couple of songs, I'm going to tell you guys the other news report I saw where I was just like, I literally was like, okay, wait a minute.
He just can't handle it.
Am I dreaming?
The riot isn't all bad, but this is the worst of the riot. Radio U.
It's weird out there, guys.
And here's one more story.
Here's Exhibit 2. All right, Exhibit 1 was that Newsweek is reporting that the Pentagon has a shadow army of 60,000 people around the world with a budget of almost $1 trillion. There's that.
One.
Okay.
That's the short version.
2. We're basically just out there saying UFOs are real now.
Oh, you didn't read that from, was it like last week or something? They're like,
there's more.
Maybe there is.
There's more. Like I read on NBC yesterday and in USA Today yesterday, there have been a couple of people that have come out. And I mean, yeah, I know that it was a last week thing, but they're saying like, yeah, we don't know what they are. You've got Marco Rubio. Again, whether you like him or not, he's a senator going, guys, this is real. We know it's real. We got to do something about it. And I'm just reading through this and I'm like, okay, wait. Shadow armies, UFOs. Again, 10 years ago, we would have laughed this off. Now we're accepting it. And here's what I am struggling with to understand. Okay, is it that these things are real and they've always been there? And, again, let's say 10 years ago, we were just buying into the lie that was sold us that, of course, there's no shadow army. Of course, UFOs aren't real. Were we wrong then? Or are we really being taken on a ride right now?
That's a good question.
Cognitive dissonance, two ideas that are at war with each other. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, wait a minute. Were you guys lying 10 years ago or are you lying now?
Or was it all the truth?
I'm not sure which one it is.
I think it's safer if we move to like our food news services.
I get it.
Our entertainment news, like things like that. That was an interesting section you found yourself in yesterday.
But okay, I wasn't out looking for it.
It was
like
just
I
there?
said, I'm just prepping the show like I normally would. And I just had this moment where I'm like, shadow armies and UFOs?
Normally you fall into that hole and you dive deeper and it's all there. But this was just in normal news.
The normies are reading this, Nikki.
I don't know.
Not the Redditors, not the whatevers, not the dark internet. These are like your grandpa is picking up a paper and reading about this and I'm like, what is happening?
Well, I don't know what to do about all that.
I don't either.
It's a lot to ingest.
I just want you to know, one, it's weird out there. And two, you're like, man, Obadiah is weird for bringing it up. It's in the normal stuff.
Normal news.
That's the part that's getting me. This is on the internet all the time. This is regular people having these conversations.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Put down your spoon because things are about to change here in this country. We've got 13 days until everything changes, Nikki. You ready?
Yeah, what's coming?
Space Jam, the cereal.
Oh, okay.
See, that's why you had to put your spoon down.
Okay, just to be ready for it.
Because you were having cereal, and now put it down because this cereal's coming.
Is Space Jam, the movie thing, supposed to still come out? Or yeah, okay.
Space Jam, A New Legacy. Mm-hmm. And so what's going to happen is that actually is one of the HBO Max movies for the year.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So it'll be in theaters, but it'll be on HBO Max. And so Space Jam.
I didn't watch the other Space Jam.
Oh, you've never seen Space Jam?
I don't think I have, but I know a lot of people have grown up with it. So there's some fond memories of it.
I mean, I certainly have seen it, but it was not on repeat at my house.
Yeah.
I had friends where it was.
Well, now...
You go over and visit and you had to watch Space Jam.
Oh, I thought just Friends the show.
No,
it's like,
not
wow,
Friends.
so early you were watching that one.
No. So Space Jam, A New Legacy. This will be sweetened corn cereal, which that's interesting that
With
they're
the
not...
high fructose corn syrup.
It doesn't.
It's just corn.
It doesn't say what the flavor of the little corn balls are.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe those kind of just normally have a flavor, a normal one, like a vanilla.
Maybe they're berry. Maybe they're berry flavored with marshmallows. I thought the marshmallows had a berry flavor, but maybe it's that the little corn balls.
They're the ones.
Yeah, and then the marshmallows just have a marshmallow flavor.
Well, I guess we don't have to worry about it. Are we going to be eating this Space Jam cereal?
I don't know.
I think we're okay. Yeah. I'm trying to look it up too, but they don't really have too much details.
Here's the sad thing that I realized, though. That whole thing, like, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm scoffing at Space Jam cereal.
Yeah.
But I was like, I really want to try the Ghostbusters cereal.
You're all in the same game right there.
When I set them next to each other, I was like, dude,
there's no difference.
What are you doing? You're out here stumping for Ghostbusters and scoffing at Space Jam. There's no difference. It's the same.
Well, let me look. Let me check the date. So it looks like you're right. It's berry flavored puffs with bunny and basketball marshmallows. There's also going to be a Team Cheerios Frosted Berry celebrates the Olympics. So that'll be frosted blueberry, strawberry Cheerios. That's combining. So General Mills also talked about that.
So May 31st for those. What's the idea here? Do they think that we're going to celebrate the Olympics and we'll be so excited about sports that we'll watch Space Jam?
Well, those are two different cereals. They're just saying that's...
No, they are,
yeah.
but it sounds like they're both destined for the summer.
I think they just assume that's all we do is just eat cereal. That's all we offer.
I do still buy chocolate Lucky Charms.
Yeah? All right. Well, I'm looking to see if there's anything else, but I think that's about it.
Space Jam, A New Legacy, the cereal. Ask your mom
eat your movie feelings. Just eat the cereal.
If you've ever asked yourself, just how bad can it get? We've got your answer right here. Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
If you like pina coladas, eating donuts in the rain, it's the Riot.
I don't know if the song really goes like that.
Well, you know what?
I've only heard it in restaurants, so I'm not sure.
Hey, I heard it on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's right.
That's how I know it. Soundtrack Volume 1. Nikki, the people at Krispy Kreme heard it too. And they were like, hey, remember that movie from 6 years ago?
What makes you think summer? Well, we've got the donuts that go with it.
What do you think about this?
They look good.
Okay. I actually don't think they look good.
Well, like decoration-wise, you don't think they look good?
Yes. Like, this has a little
palm tree action.
Palm tree on it. There's no way.
Oh, it won't look like that when you go get them.
There's no way that the donut that you get from Krispy Kreme looks anything like the donut in this promo photo that we're staring at. So, let's see. The Pina Colada donut.
It's pina colada icing, filling, and
toasted coconut flakes.
Toasted and coconut flakes, and a candied cherry on top. So that's one of the new Krispy Kreme like summer donuts.
I don't want that. There's the key lime donut.
Now, that one used to be back in 2019, so it's coming back for the season. It's got a key lime filling, graham cracker topping, and a key lime glaze.
So the Island Time donut is the one that Nikki and I were talking about. It has 2 clouds, and it's got a little palm tree on it, a light dusting of something to make it look like sand.
And graham cracker stuff.
The icing is blue.
I'll take that.
So they say that it actually doesn't have a special flavor. It's just you're paying for the decoration.
Oh, okay. So there's no, is it still key lime flavored or just donut?
I mean, unless I'm reading this incorrectly, it's just a glazed donut with icing.
Oh.
And it tastes like blue sky.
We couldn't do anything else with that?
Nikki, okay, you got to keep in mind.
Was all the effort on the decoration?
When it comes to your Krispy Kreme management class, you'll learn about the PPD, which is price per donut.
You're right.
And so one of the things you got to do is you got so much money because you got to maintain the donut margin. That's the DM. So if your PPD gets too high, your DM gets too low. And if your DM gets too low, we're looking for a new GM.
Oh, no.
Okay.
You're out.
So that's why they were not able to afford to flavor this donut because of all the decoration that's
Yeah,
been
the
put
money
on
went
it.
towards that. And they're thinking, well, maybe if you don't like key lime, you at least can get this donut as the new offering.
Yeah, it would be something.
So these will start yesterday. So the 3 new donuts or the one that came back are available at Krispy Kreme. And they look cute. Like I said, they did a nice job decorating them.
Yeah.
Will it look like this when you go through and get it? I don't think so. But, it's just the same thing when you plan your summer vacation and it looks like it's going to be one way. And then you get there and there's no flavor on one of the donuts.
I mean, I will say this. I was looking at it. It's been a few years ago, but they did a Ghostbusters donut. It all comes back to Ghostbusters at breakfast.
Apparently.
And I went and got some of their Ghostbusters donut. And I thought, well, they can't screw this up because like this tree, I think is probably a little gummy tree that they just add to the top.
A little hard candy.
And that's what they did with the Ghostbusters logo. And I will tell you, I got those Ghostbusters donuts. Now, they came in a special box that looked very cool. And when you opened it, you were like, oh, I think that's supposed to be the ghost.
Listen, you can't make it be perfect, right?
It was rough.
But they look good. We might have to try those.
Listen, at the end of the day, whatever it looks like, what's really important is the magic that happens when you put it in your mouth, and then you can't even see it anymore.
Doesn't matter. You're eating it. As long as you get a chance to eat it, then you're fine.
Oh, I'll have some of these. Thank you.
We've done you a favor by selecting the best of the worst and compiling it all in one place. Riot Podcast, RadioU.
I'm here to tell you all that I've made a huge mistake. I got the COVID vaccine, but it's not too late. Don't get it. The cure for COVID is cow urine.
Oh, who's saying that one? Oh, man. Someone really saying that?
Yeah.
I know, in desperate times, right? You don't want to be sick, but I don't know about that one.
Sit down to a nice glass.
Oh, don't, body. Don't just... I know it's upsetting to hear, but don't. Keep it together. Oh, the more you think about it, it's like, how could you do that?
I mean, I guess... Get a fan on me. Fan.
Is anybody else shivering? I always shiver
it's
and
weird.
I get hot.
I'm shivering, but it's very hot.
Yeah, and then there's goosebumps and like it's just very unsettling right in your stomach.
I don't like it here.
But also in your throat, like just right there. Right there. It's very upsetting.
Okay.
Who's fallen for that?
People in India. I will tell you, COVID, of course, was rough in the United States, but like it is in India, it's crazy. It's worse. And part of the reason why it's worse, 1, larger population, 2, not quite the infrastructure, and 3, like there's, you know what? I don't know that you can really make sweeping statements, but I'll just tell you there are certain parts of the country where certain strata of society, they're just like, oh, well, they're dying. We don't care. Whatever. Again, that's not everywhere, but it's in some places. Like there are places in India where there's just true desperation. I mean, true desperation the way you and I don't really understand what desperate is. And so one of their, their governing body's a little different than ours, but one of their people is they're basically one of their senators or representatives.
Just having to tell people not to?
No, the government was like, hey, everybody, please stop spreading cow dung on yourself and drinking cow urine. They're like, you guys have got to stop doing that.
It's 1 and 2?
It's not effective against the spread of COVID. And then they had somebody that came out who works for the government as one of their senators, Congress people. It's like, yes, it is. Have a glass.
Oh, gosh, really?
Yeah.
Well, is it wrong or right to say, because I know in India, sometimes the cow, isn't it considered more sacred?
I believe so.
Perhaps they think that the pee from the cow would have more medical properties or medicinal sort of things.
I'm sure that's true.
Or magical sort of things.
So this particular
Let's not do that.
Just said that cow urine, it eliminates and cures all lung infections caused by COVID.
Oh, I don't know about that. I do not know. But it is interesting to see no matter where you're at, every form of government has all the different types of people. The yeses and the nos. The yes for the cow urine and the no's.
You know, I'm not even going to send you this story.
I don't want to see it. No, thank you.
Don't look at it. It's...
Well, wait. When you say that, you're like, well, now I want to. No, I don't want to.
You sure? Here.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
Maybe just send the link if I feel like it.
Here's something you guys may not understand is that, like, I would say I don't want to see it, and then I really won't look at it. Nikki is like, I don't want to see it. Show it to me right now.
Show it to me right now. I'm just curious now. I want to see what that's all about. I have to read that article.
You go ahead.
It's sad to think people would be so desperate to try that, but that's a no-go here.
Exactly. That's the part about it that really hurts my heart a bit is the idea of like, hey, there is a level of desperation. I mean, yes, there are certain religious beliefs at play, but there's also a level of desperation where like you'll do anything, and that
we're not doing.
That's
no.
That's something, right?
There's no fresh by date because it was spoiled when they made it. Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
Oh, so Ohio unveiled, I don't know if it was last night or this morning or what, but OhioVaxAMillion.com. That's where you go to register that if you've been vaccinated.
You can register for the 5 people. Are they each winning $1 million or is it
will be
up to $1 million?
It'll be 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's $5 million. Each week they're doing $1 million drawing.
For one person.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, urine drinkers they're not eligible. That's not an alternate means of entry, Nikki. If
you're just joining us, you're like, what? That was a previous story.
You had to have been here. But the part that I love is this. So I go to the website and they're like, hey, register. And I thought, man, I'm not registering. And then I thought, why? They have all my information. Plus, they've shot me full of stuff. Like, what's left?
They don't even need it. But they just want you to enter it in again, just in case.
Whatever. So I sign up, and then right here at the bottom of the page, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available.
Well, they have to.
Call the Ohio Problem Gambling Helpline.
I'm sure they're legally required to put that on there.
What the heck? It amazes me, the stuff we do as a society. We're like, the government's like, gambling is good for vaccines and schools.
But that's it.
If you have a gambling problem, please call us.
I don't know. Did you get a rush when you were signing up? Now will you sign up for everything?
I have a headache, but I had it before that. So I don't think it counts.
Not count. It doesn't go with that.
I don't think it does.
All right. Well, now you're in for the lottery.
Oh, man. Look at me. I hope I can get on Cash Explosion.
I hope you win one of the 5.
So, yeah, look at that. Nikki, I could win $1 million. And I want you to know if I do, totally taking you to lunch.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much.
You know what? Forget lunch. I'll go ahead. I'll DoorDash us some breakfast.
Oh, we can afford it at that point.
We can.
I don't know. It's hard it is hard when you go one area. They're like, no lottery. The other area, you're like, yes, this one's okay, and this one's you're like, well, kind of maybe. It's hard to follow the lottery system sometimes.
I wouldn't buy a ticket, but like I said, I got a vaccine, whatever.
Are you going to sign up?
You've got my DNA. You're cloning me right now. Might as well see if I can get my name in the drawing. And then we'll find out like 10 years, like everybody that won that lottery ended up dead.
Okay, well, let's think more positive things,
we
okay?
We should do that movie. Like how it was all a big conspiracy to pull out 5 people.
Sure.
And those 5 people.
And you think you're winning, but no.
No, like it's so much worse.
Oh, gosh.
Like, oh my gosh. Did you guys see The Island where people are like, they think they're winning, but that's actually when they're getting their organs harvested?
Jeez. Okay, let's change to something else.
What?
That's just sad to think about.
Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor,
yeah.
ScarJo?
I don't want to think about it.
Oh, okay.
Now, Trevor did text say he got his shot 8 times to quadruple his chances of winning. Not really, but...
You know what? It sounds like you might have a gambling problem.
You're gambling with your shots.
1-800-589-9966.
Good luck to you.
Because that's a problem.
Well, good luck to you and everybody else who is signing up for the $5 million thing.
I'll take the physical challenge.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, I might not win the vaccine lottery, but I still feel like a winner.
Because?
Royalty, even. Because I don't know if you saw it, but Burger King is bringing back the crown-shaped chicken nugget.
I didn't know those were a thing. Or at least that they were crown-shaped.
Yeah. You can get nuggets in any
shape you want. But apparently these were a thing. They were removed from menus at Burger King in 2011. And they say that Burger King customers have been pleading since then. Petitions. I was going to say, look at that. They only say it's 2,000 signatures. I do not know if that's a lot. I don't think so.
They cite an online petition with 2,000 signatures like that's a lot.
That doesn't seem as much as I thought it would be, but that's fine. So these are the crown-shaped. They're not nationwide yet. The crown-shaped nuggets will be sold at 25 locations around Miami for a limited time, and then they'll see if it's a nationwide launch after that.
$1.49 for 10 nuggets?
That seems reasonable. Like, that's very cheap,
low.
Isn't it?
Yes, very low. McDonald's nuggets are twice that.
There's a tradition with the McDonald's ones. We'll pay whatever it takes. We're already addicted.
I'm just like out there looking at it, warning you that if you thought McDonald's nuggets were like as low as you could go, you're wrong. So
Burger King has also, just reminded you that the crown-shaped chicken nuggets are made from white meat with a crispy coating. And the crown shape, they say, makes them perfect for dipping.
Oh, yeah. Because before, they were so unwieldy and difficult.
Now it's better to get the crown shape, right in there in the sauce. So
I got it now.
That's Miami only, but they'll consider, if we're good, if Burger King will do the crown-shaped chicken nuggets, which have been gone since 2011, if they'll make them nationwide.
If you guys would stop screwing around, maybe we could get some crown-shaped nuggets around here.
Didn't they also have like the chicken fries? Is that something that Burger King still does?
I don't know if they still have them, but
do those
they
go in and out?
Them. They were fine. Again, it was just one of those things where you're like, okay, chicken nuggets are born out of the industrial meat process. They're just the leftover meat from whatever. So they grind them down and turn it into this. Chicken fries are like, hey, we have leftovers from the leftovers. What do we do with those?
Well, basically, it's just what shape do you want it in? What shape would you like? A crown, a fry, whatever.
What do you think? How can you get more breading?
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Oh, they changed the headline for this. I love it so much. I'll give you the actual headline in a minute. But first, let me ask you a question. You're at the airport. Will you take your shoes off? No, I won't. Okay, yeah, well, it's fine. Can we put you in this little booth so we can take semi-naked pictures of you? No. All right. Okay, whatever. Okay, would you be willing to step on the scale before we let you board the plane?
To weigh you? Oh, no.
At this point, they're like, would you mind could you take all your clothes off and let us tar and feather you?
That'd be nicer.
It seems like they just want to see how far can they push you before you're just like, I'm done.
Well, have you never been if you go sometimes on smaller, really smaller planes, they will weigh you or they will ask for your weight.
And I get it because they're trying to calculate how much fuel they need,
especially with luggage and stuff.
I get it.
And you don't want to lie because that's maybe your safety at risk then if the plane is not balanced. But they don't need to be weighing you at the airport like that. They don't need to. That's just mean. So are they going to? Because I have that pre-screening thing where I don't have to go through the X-ray or do this shit. So maybe do I not have to get weighed?
No, but what they have is that apparently the FAA, now this was a while ago, they sent out a notice like, hey, we got to figure out what's going on with these airlines and stuff. We got to find out how much these people weigh. How much weight we're putting on this plane. They say it would be voluntary. You wouldn't have to do it if you didn't want to. And the numbers would be kept out of sight.
Oh, right.
Just like how all those photos of people in the naked booth never end up online. That never happens.
Let's just say, you know how we have sometimes some fighting that goes on at the airport anyways? This is going to add a whole other layer to it.
Yeah, it's great. You know what? It's perfect. We should do this. We should, except now, I think what we should do is we should take all our clothes off and get on the scale. That way you're going to get a real,
And then you're only flying out early in the morning.
So you can get a real read.
You want you at your lowest weight. And then, gosh, you'd have to what do they do with boxers? Like cut weight or do whatever leading
you wrap
up
yourself
to it?
in plastic and go running.
Man,
so you can shed all that water weight.
You'll be out of it by the time you get to your poor vacation.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Came in under 150 this time.
I will walk to vacation.
Well, that's where they're coming from. I think
if this is what we're doing, I will drive. I will do whatever else it takes. We're not doing that.
Like, what's left? What do you like? You take all your clothes off, they weigh you, and then you're like, okay, I'm humiliated enough. And then there's a guard that's like, you want your underwear back? Nope. And you reach for it? Nope, can't have it. And they're throwing your underwear back and forth or playing keep away with you as you run back and forth, jiggling through the airport.
I don't know what else they could do that'd be worse than all of that combined. That is one bad trip to the airport if they start weighing people.
Telling you, it's getting so weird out there. Like, sure, what do you got to hide?
Using advanced technology, we've digitized and transcoded Obadiah and Nikki into a purely digital format. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Yesterday, Apple made an announcement. We had kind of covered the rumors early in the morning, but the official announcement came yesterday, and they announced that Apple Music is, and this is the really good news, no extra cost. So if you have Apple Music, you will have this. They're basically offering very ultra uber high quality lossless streaming. And so you're talking about sound quality that would be potentially up to 20 times
as better than what you're listening to.
Also, a little something called spatial audio. And you're like, I love special audio. No. Spatial.
I love space.
That's what I'm saying.
I love space audio.
It's spatial. No, what?
Actually, that does sound like special in a southern
absolutely
sound.
Does. It does. What that actually means is think 3D audio. So like it's audio that makes you feel like you're in a place, not just
not so flat.
Yeah, it's actually, if you ever get a chance to hear something that's recorded that way, it's very cool.
So it won't cost any more than if you just have Apple Music?
No extra. And yesterday, Amazon was like, well, us too.
Poor Amazon Music stuff. They try, but
who uses that?
I don't know. Isn't it free if you have Prime, or do you have to pay extra?
No, there's tiers, and I don't just mean the weeping. There's that too. There's, if you've got Amazon Prime, they're like, you have Amazon Prime Music. But if you really want the good stuff, you got to have Amazon Prime Spatial.
The special one.
I actually don't remember what theirs is called, but they have like another like upper tier of music. And they're saying if you get that, then this high quality streaming stuff, lossless streaming, you'll be able to get for free along with your paid subscription.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. The other thing that people are talking about, if you care, is that people are complaining that that high quality streaming, you don't get it with, the AirPods Pro, the AirPods Max, or any of that stuff. You
wouldn't be able to hear it through the ones you already have.
Right. And the reason being is Bluetooth. Basically what you're doing is with Bluetooth is however large your streaming bandwidth is, let's say that you've got a song and that song is a river wide. Okay, no, let's say it's a creek.
Yeah.
All right. And then that creek gets put down into a little tube, and that's, the Bluetooth codec going from your phone to your headphones. And then they're like, yeah, that creek, we've turned it into a mighty rushing river, but it still has to go through the little straw. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't, with those headphones, it doesn't change anything.
So you'd have to get new ones.
Which they have not. I don't think they could offer that level of quality through Bluetooth. You would have to have some sort of a wired connection to get that.
So they didn't do any other new talk about AirPod stuff. So.
No, there was speculation we would see the AirPods 3 yesterday, but no, nothing. In fact, no headphone news at all.
You get
except
nothing.
that it doesn't work with this new
So then what do they
higher
expect
quality
you to
audio.
listen to it with?
Well, okay.
Like their home thing, or like through some sort of speakers?
It'll work through the Apple TV.
Yeah.
If you have it hooked up to something like that could do it, your computer would do it. But again, how good are the speakers that you have hooked up to your computer?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of...
There's layers.
There is.
It's an onion. It's a nice sounding onion, but you got to figure it out.
In some ways, it's kind of like going from an HD TV to a 4K TV. In order to get 4K, everything in the line has to be able to support it. So like your TV has to be 4K. You have to have the right kind of cable. You have to have the right kind of this, and then you get it. Same idea. It's just with audio this time.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on Radio U.
Your dad is Bill Gates. How much money do you think you're going to get when dad, is no longer with us?
Well, or maybe do they get something earlier, like when they turn a certain age or something?
This is crazy. Bill Gates is currently worth $130 billion.
Just can't even comprehend that.
So in this divorce that is taking place, like family business is starting to, get
to
out
show,
there.
the details.
Each of his kids is set to inherit $10 million.
Now, do you feel like that's enough?
No.
Not out of the big picture of all that he has. That I expected to hear that it would be bigger number than that, though I would be perfectly fine.
I'm not saying I wouldn't.
With even it's just a tiny pile of that money.
That, to me, when that becomes public, that's a dad, we
Come
need
on.
to talk. Like, what? What?
Maybe, though, it's the case of, how like some of the super rich like their kids to not get as much to make their own, so they're just not relying on that.
Yeah, keep in mind, everybody, that to Bill Gates, not giving his kids very much
is the
10 million. I don't want money to ruin them, so I figure I'll give each of them 10 million, and then they got to go out and succeed on their own.
Well, I don't know if that's the case of what he's doing, but when I did hear that number, I thought, well, out of everything that I'm sure he has, that does seem like a lower number than I thought I would hear.
I mean, that's a fraction of a % of his overall worth, and each of his kids get a little fraction.
Now, is this more like divorce settlement money? Like, do kids get something with that, or like within the family? Or is this, if he passed away, that'd be what they would inherit?
That's their inheritance.
Wow. All right. Well,
10 million.
We don't know the whole picture.
We don't.
But that does seem a little low.
It does, doesn't it?
Just a tiny bit.
I mean, now, again, just comparatively, your dad's worth over $100 billion.
Yeah.
And he's like, 10 million's enough.
But, all right, well, if the kids of him need any moral support or want someone to agree with them that it's too little, I'm sure they're fighting that one.
Feel free to give me a call.
Yeah, we'll be happy to, on your behalf, try to fight for you to get more money.
And let's be clear, like, this phone call is free. 877-2-RADIO-U.
Just text us if you'd like us to help, and then we will just take a tiny part of the tiny part that you'll get. Actually, be worse if you had us fighting for you, you would end up with more money taken away. It'd be less than 10 million.
That's where you're wrong, Nikki.
Oh no, we might ruin it.
You and I are going to go in there and we're going to make a difference.
I don't think we could.
Oh yeah, have you ever heard me whine? That's not fair.
Okay, if you want to go in with that approach.
We can make this work.
The Riot has now been downloaded. Hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Do you ever get to hang out with little kids at all? Like, do you have a kid brother or a niece or a nephew or whatever? Do you ever not notice, you notice, like, you just like being around them, and they're not as good at stuff as you are, and sometimes they do dumb stuff like spilling things or whatever, and do you ever look at them and go, well, I loved you, but due to this spill, unfortunately, I don't love you any longer, and I won't be coming to visit anymore.
Oh, no, you don't think that.
You would never do that, right? That seems ridiculous. So why do you think that about yourself and God? Something that you've got to remember is that God actually is far more loving. He's far more gooder than you and I are. Really? And his love for us is like your love for your niece or your nephew or whatever that little kid is. Like when he looks at you, he loves you. Does he want you to not spill things? Sure. You don't want your nephew to constantly just be like, spill, spill, spill. But you know what? You love him so much, you're there for it. Like you are. You're just there for it. So here's the question. You know, you being a person who makes mistakes and all these things, you're capable of love that is bigger than mistakes. Don't you think God is capable of that same love? Maybe even to a greater degree than you are, because he's God and you're not? Think about that. That's how God feels about you, but to the extreme. God loves you so much, and he is the word. It's not even like a word. Loving kindness is how you see it translated sometimes, but it's just this characteristic of God where there's so much love in his character and who he is. He loves you. He cares about you. And it's like that kid. He has compassion for you, just like you would for your niece or nephew or whoever. He loves you. So listen, today, I would say, 1, cut yourself a little slack. You're more loved than you realize. And 2, if you've never experienced God for yourself firsthand, what a bummer. Like, you're the nephew that never sees his uncle. You're the niece that never sees their aunt, or vice versa, or whatever. Like, what a bummer. You should spend some time getting to know God. He even goes a step farther than saying he's not looking to be your uncle. God wants to be like a dad to us. Imagine that right there. A good one. Maybe you've had some bad experiences, but a good dad. That's how much God loves you. If you don't know him, you could say, Jesus, I would like to know that. I want to know what you're really like. Come into my life. Fill me with your spirit. I want to know what you're about.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously, this is The Riot on Radio U.
Listen, you guys may not see that this is a really big deal, but it kind of is. Amazon is allegedly in negotiations to buy MGM.
Everybody, like, there's all these big deals that everybody's working on right now.
I know. We talked yesterday about like this whole AT&T
Warner
spinning off Warner Media and connecting it up with the Discovery Channel. And sometime next year, they're going to launch Mega Service One, which is not what it's called, but
it would be a combination of your like HBO Max stuff and your Discovery Plus stuff.
Yeah, that looks like that's going to happen. What this would be now. This is kind of crazy. So MGM owns James Bond. And Nikki, these won't matter to you as much, and Stargate and RoboCop.
Well, that list is going down.
And The Hobbit.
Well, all right.
It also owns the Epix channel.
Yeah.
Which that would bring a lot of licensing over. So even if they would eliminate Epix, they could probably still hang on to some of that licensing.
So you're saying Amazon might be wanting to buy MGM because of the licensing they hold for a lot of bigger projects.
Right. Think about this. All right. You've seen, all these James Bond movies. What if James Bond suddenly became a premium television show instead? So it became like they've done Jack Ryan and they've done this, and now they're like, no, we can bring James Bond down to our poor standards. And they can roll it out that way.
Well, that'd be exciting if they could.
Yeah. Or, they own those Lord of the Rings rights, but maybe they don't have the hot. Oh,
Just teasing you.
Oh, yeah.
Then you
Fargate goes far. Get it?
You could have something new with Stargate, I guess, if you need. It's really that is some of these companies. They're just trying to buy licensing for things that then they could jump off of and make a new product of.
Right.
That's it.
Right. It all comes down to that. So plus all of their movies. And so, that would add a potentially huge back catalog that they could, at some point, once streaming deals are over, make exclusive to Amazon.
Well, if everybody could just tell us when they're done, like putting together all these mega things, then we'll be good to decide if we want to watch anything.
In the meantime, I'm going to just keep buying my physical media because there's no licensing with that. I just have it.
You'll still have the other stuff. It's just what do you want to stream from them?
You'll be like, hey, you know what? Amazon won't let me watch Casino Royale. Can I borrow it? And I'll be like, Nikki, get out.
You should have bought it when you had the chance.
You mocked me.
Yeah, but a lot of times you're buying it from Amazon anyway.
Shh.
So what are you doing there? That's not like that's really sticking it to them.
You know what, Nikki? I don't like talking about this.
You don't talk about it anymore?
I want to keep this conversation where in this bright future, I'm winning.
You're winning.
Big, and everyone is begging me to be my friend.
So we'll see if we hear any more about Amazon trying to purchase or interested in purchasing MGM.
I think like that. It's a fascinating idea. I do think the idea of like James Bond as a serialized like TV thing like that. That could be kind of cool.
I'd be more interested in that than the movie.
Yeah, remember when they made a James Bond movie and it never came out?
You still have, I think it's this fall, isn't it? Is it September or October? Or?
I don't know. I feel like I've heard that 3 or 4 times, so I don't know.
People win awards for being the best at things. Are there awards for the worst? Because we have a contender. Worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, the message is not getting out, so we're going to have to talk about it some more. All right. In India, they have a little issue that they're trying to get out there to tell you, like, hey, drinking cow urine will not cure or prevent COVID.
Well, it's not just the drinking the urine, but you haven't brought up the other part as much as I think needs to be included. You're not supposed to take the cow poop and they rub it all over their body with the pee and stuff. And it's almost like they bathe in that and then they wash in the milk. That also is not going to help or prevent COVID. In fact, they're worried that would increase the spread of it.
And dude, ew.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot. There was all the pictures of it too. It's a lot.
All right, Nikki. Well, like we look at India like, oh, how could that be? Who would do that? And here's the tale of Grace Jones. Mm-hmm. She's on Instagram. She's 32 years old. She lives in San Diego. She's been enjoying 2 weeks of urine therapy.
What are we doing? What is it?
You ready?
Is it drinking it? Is it just bathing in it?
Snorting.
Oh.
And you pour it into your eyes.
Why? Why would you do that? Why? What's that mean?
Say it again.
Why?
One more time.
Why?
For the people in the back.
Why?
What are we doing?
What are you doing?
She says in the last 2 weeks, she's lost 30 pounds. It's completely cured her anxiety.
2 weeks, you said? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
30 pounds in 2 weeks?
That's what she says.
From putting pee in your eyes?
And snorting it.
And snorting it? Is it hers or is it someone else?
It's hers.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, and also rubbing it on her skin.
Well, why not? If you're already snorting it, what's rubbing it on the skin?
She says it's cured. Oh, good Lord. It's taking care of her eyesight as well. She can now see just fine. Her eczema is gone. Her anxiety and depression are gone. Her high blood pressure's out. No more digestive problems. She's lost 30 pounds in 2 weeks.
It sounds too good to be true.
Come on.
Listen,
Come on.
I'm not accepting this. I'm not accepting this. That's not working.
Oh my gosh. Wait, according to this article, Madonna is also a well-known advocate of urotherapy.
And it's hard because then when you look at these people's pictures from now and you're like, they drink their own pee.
Yeah, I mean, it really, at that point,
it changes your perception of them.
It makes your advice a little less valid for me. When you're like, hey, listen, I think you should blank. And I'm like, yeah, coming from you, it doesn't mean as much.
Now, we have talked about this type of therapy before, pee therapy. Like, it's been around for a while.
Urotherapy.
And I understand that when someone's desperate because they don't feel good, they'll try anything. But usually we just say that. It doesn't mean that you will actually try anything.
This seems like a bad idea.
Oh, I couldn't even get over, like, I say I'm dying, and it's like, here you go. This is it. This is the only way for you to stay hydrated and live. I don't know if I could actually drink.
What if they set it down in front?
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could drink it. I don't know. And I've never been in the moment, so who knows?
Somebody's got a gun, and you're just like, you know what? I hate saying this, but I think you're going to have to shoot.
Call them on it, know?
I think you're going to have to. I don't want to die, but like I don't think I can do this.
Just physically, I don't know if I can. But for this lady, I guess this is what she's doing.
Yeah.
So you put in your eyes like with droppers, or you just splash it?
I don't know.
Do you always smell like pee?
There's no video like showing. Yeah, okay, I'll tell you right now. The other thing that gets me is that the snorting, Like,
what's the? I
give,
mean,
like, a
well, wait.
straw?
Are we talking allergy help here? Is that what they're saying?
I mean, admittedly,
no.
I do a sinus rinse.
Yeah, I guess you just would have to
A little bottle that you and it.
stop.
Oh, I can't.
All right. Well, I'm done hearing about
I'm just
this therapy today.
I know. And the reason we're talking about it is because somebody somewhere saw something online and they're like, maybe I'll try it. Don't.
Maybe we should check with our friends and like trick them and be like, hey, you wanna? And see if they say yes. And then you're like, ha ha, you do this?
Like, you're sick. You're sick.
I can't be your friend anymore.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on Radio U.
So, Nikki, what do you think about you and me heading over to check out the Titanic replica they're building in China?
Is this the same as the one in Australia, or is that a boat you can actually ride on, or
so
what do we have?
So this one in China, it's almost like Titanic, the theme park, where they're saying that they're building a life-size replica that's not seaworthy, by the way.
So it stays there.
So you basically, they said to think of it as a floating museum. So it'll kind of be, I think it might be in a river or whatever. So like it's going to be in water, but it's not going to be
movable.
Right. And so you'll be able to stay on it like it's a hotel, and you'll be able to tour it. And people are mad about it because graves and stuff. Because so many people died, and that's the reason why people are interested.
It's not a theme park, but I will say some parts are different. I don't know. There's still people that are fascinated by it, and they would go to a Titanic theme park.
You know what's funny is I, as a kid, was just fascinated by the story of the Titanic, what happened, how it happened, all of those kinds of things. I read a ton of books on it. I've seen so many documentaries. Like I even as an adult, I'm still fascinated by it. That being said, where was I? Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Yeah. They have like a Titanic museum / exhibit that you pay to go in, and like all these different things. And when it was time for me to do that, I was like, this is dumb.
You didn't want to? Well,
I'm not doing this.
Now, see, this article I'm looking at calls it more of a museum for the Titanic. That I don't think is as in poor taste. But when they make it, if it's more like a theme park, then that's just wrong.
Well, I mean,
but this is more of it is a tourist attraction, but it'll be a museum for the Titanic.
I mean, the idea would be you can go on there, you can order off the menu, you can stay, they will have recreated this so you can get a look at it.
What it would have felt like.
And I think the language they're using for it depends on who they're pitching it to.
Oh, yes, I see.
Because that's one of the things that some people are mad about. Some people are calling it a museum, some people are calling it a theme park.
I think there's one of these in Australia that actually goes around.
They haven't
finished it?
No. Like that was like the hotness. This was supposed to be done in 2019. It's still not done. And there were two different ships that were supposedly going to be these Titanic replicas. Neither one of them has done their thing yet. The other thing that's worth noting is you always read about, or maybe watch the movie, like Titanic was so big. Look at a picture comparing it to a modern cruise ship. It's like small. A canoe.
Yeah.
It's so you think you're going to go see this thing that's huge, and you'll probably be like, wait, I thought it would be bigger.
Well, in China, they're more upset about this, not because of the controversy. I mean, that is there, the controversy of whether the ship would bring in tourists because it was a disaster. But they're also concerned because in China, they call these building projects, they say they turn into white elephants. There's like a 2008 replica of the USS Enterprise, the aircraft carrier, which cost over $18 million that someone made. Okay. And then it was abandoned right after they were open. So they have these big elaborate things that get built for millions of dollars and nothing happens. And then they just become abandoned.
So what, it's like money laundering or something?
I don't know.
You know what I mean, though?
Like the construction's not, like it's just not, yes, there's something shady about some of that. And so people are kind of tired of those. And they just wonder if this Titanic museum will be the same exact thing.
Maybe. Now, you asked about those other ships. The Titanic II has been under construction since 2012. is supposed to launch in 2016. They're now saying 2022.
And that's the Australian one?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Titanic 2, the movie, at least for a while, was available on Netflix.
There is a Titanic 2 movie, and it is terrible to watch because there's no lighting, so it's so dark. So at certain parts of the movie, when you watch it, you're like, what's going on? I can't actually see anything.
They're basically filming it in somebody's kitchen where they've turned the lights way down.
They just didn't want you to see anything. It's bad.
Oh, dude, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I definitely scrubbed through it.
You don't need to.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
You said the Delaverberator. I got the photoverberator.